Hello guys, let's talk about Python programming again. In today's teaching, we are going to be experimenting with some Python programming syntaxes and statements. Um, let's progress. The first statement we're going to look at is the print statement. The print statement can be used to print values. So in this case, we are using print statement to print a string. And the string we have here is hello world. So once we type this first line of code inside our Python programming environment, the outcome will give us hello world. We can use print statement to print values. The second line of code here says that we want to print the value 5. So if you type this inside the programming environment, the value will become 5. We can also use print statement to do mathematical operations like addition, multiplication, and so on. So the third line of code here wants to print 1 plus 3, 23. So it's an addition between 1 and 23. So we expect to have 24. And the last one is 3 plus 2 multiplied by 3. What do you expect to have? You have to follow the mathematical principle in order to get the correct answer. We're going to see the outcome when we go to the Python programming environment. The next slide is talking about expression. The first line of code assigned the value 5 to a variable called x, and we want to know the value inside the variable called x, so we can print x. So in this environment, we want to start with this print statement. Mind you that sometimes when you are typing keyword, Python will try to complete the word for you. So we have our speech mark and we include the word inside it, which is hello world. Now we finish. If we hit enter, we see the outcome here, which says hello world. Okay. Then we can print this. It says print 5. So we finish typing and we want to print the value 5 inside it. So when we hit enter or the return key, the value 5 comes. Let's see what happens if we say 1 plus 23. So 1 plus 23, enter. We expect to see 24 because 1, when we add 23 to 1, we have the value 24. Then this one is a bit tricky, the last one. Let's see, what do you expect the value to be? We have 3 plus 2 plus times 3. What do you expect the value to be? What is your expectation? So if you say you want to do it mathematically, then you want to say 3 plus 2 will be 5, and 5 times 3 will give you 15. Let's see if that is what, let's see if that is what we're going to get. So no, that's not what we got. What happened? In this case, multiplication comes first before addition. The first operation will be 2 times 3, which is going to give us 6. And when we add 3 to it, it turns into giving us 9. All right. Okay, let's move to the second slide. So the second slide is looking at expression. We clear this, looking at expression where we have x is equal to 5. When we hit enter key or the return key, nothing comes out. This is because we have not prompted the program to print it. What we did was just to assign a value to that variable and we left it in the memory. How do we know that it's in the memory? We can print it. So if you type print the value x, then we have our 5 printed. So it is in the memory. All right. So now let's also work with that value x. The value x is still in the memory. Use y is equal to x plus 1. So we know that our value x contains, our variable x contains with value 5. And when we add 1 to it, it will be stored inside the variable y. So if we hit return key, the value x plus 1 is now stored inside the variable y. So let's print this and see if it is actually stored there. So we have y printed and the value is 6, which is exactly what we expected to see, because 5 plus 1 will give us 6. Now, y again is equal to x plus 3. And print the value y at this point, we are going to get a different value. So the value of y has changed from 6 to 8. So what happened is that the Python program created a memory space and stored the initial value, which is 6. Now you change the initial value to 8. So Python will go inside the memory space and override the previous value. Okay, so I will allow you to do the rest of this while we go to the next slide. So in the next slide, we want to look at some errors, some errors that we can encounter while programming. The first line of code says print, and at the initial time, we do not have the speech mark. So we want to print hello world. So what we have is this. Let's hit enter. So when we hit enter, it says that there is a problem. And what is the problem? So we can find the problem. You see this arrow pointing up is pointing at where the problem is coming from. And also you have a statement here which says syntax error. Sometimes when you have this statement, it tries to point to you where the problem is. And if you look at this place, it says detected at line 1. And that is in line 1 of our code. And what is this referring to? It's referring to the string. So how do we change it or correct it? So if we put another speech mark here or double quote here, then we have corrected the problem. In a similar way, when we say that x is equal to y plus times 4, we expect to have a problem. And if you look at it again, it is pointing to where the problem might be coming from. And it says syntax error, invalid syntax. So this is not a good or correct syntax. So you can correct it by removing one of these operators. And the next one is the print. The print two times crash. 2 times crash. So if we print 2 times crash, sorry about that. So I'm going to type it again. 2 times crash. What will be the problem? Hit enter. We never defined the name crash. So it says that name error. Name crash is not defined. Name crash is not defined. So this is the problem. So if we define the name crash and run the program again, we'll be able to get a result. So this implies that whenever you want to use any variable, you have to first define that variable before you can use it. Let's define the variable crash. Let's say crash is equal to 3. Then call back what we printed before. We print 2 times crash. In this case, our crash is equal to 3. So we expect to get the value 6. So when we type it and hit the return key, we get the value 6. This is similar to what we have here when we say bang. So this we complain that bang, the name bang is not defined. Okay, these are some of the problems. Then the last one we have is a statement to look at what we come out when we print type something like this. So we have 3, 6, 1, and 2. If you hit enter, it gives you exactly the same thing. We can use list keyword, and we have range. Range is also a keyword, and we have 5. So here we have list. We want to list numbers, or how long is the number? The number is going to be 5 digits. So let's see what comes out. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you look at it, you see that it starts from 0. That is the default of range. Whenever you use range, it will start from 0. Then it's up to you to, find a way to make it start from 1 or 2, wherever you want it to start from. Next, we have is for I in this. So what we have just done is that we are saying that I contains series of values 3, 6, 1, and 2. So if you want to print these 3, 6, 1, and 2, then what you have to print is I. Good. So look at what happened. When you have for statement, the for statement expects you to talk about what you want to do under that for statement. At this moment, we just want to see the value I. So we have our value I here. So when you hit enter, if you are doing this for statement in this environment, you have to hit your enter key 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then the outcome says 3, 6, 1, and 2, which is what we have here. Now we want to talk about the range using for statement. So in this case, we want to print value that starts from 0 to 5. So we assigned those values to I. So if we print I, then remember you have to hit your key 3 times. So it's giving us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. How about if you want to change the print? We want it to start from 1 instead of 0. We can do that. We can do it in different ways, or we can do it to I plus 1. So what it's going to do is that, the first value is 0. So you add 1 to it. So is 0 plus 1 will give us 1. Then the next value is 1. When we add 1 to it, it's going to give us 2. So by me doing this, it will print from 1 to 5. Let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where we're going to end today's session. We don't want it to be too long for you. So experiment with this, and hope to see you in the next video. Thank you and bye.